Just a forewarning, we will not be covering any material we already covered, so if you have not seen webcomics panels 1 and 2, just
shall we just knock out the questions we keep getting?
Well, first off, if you have a cell phone, turn it off.
Randy will eat it.
Either put it on mute, or if you have to have it on for emergency reasons, put the vibrate. I will answer phones that I hear ring.
Well, that would be on.
Good.
He's getting
phone rang yesterday.
right now. Grab his phone, call the last person on the list, and it was bad.
So, let's introduce ourselves, I guess.
We'll start on that end this time.
Hi, I'm Nisha, and I'm the artist for Absurd.
I am Heidi, I am the writer for Absurd. I'm Mel Hines, I'm sleep deprived. I'm the writer for Shoe Lumps.
I'm Jay Grant, I draw cats. I'm Greg Dean, I do real life.
I'm Randy Milholland, and I draw something positive. So, we're just a Q&A.
Yes, so yeah, we do Q&A, so if you have questions, fire them out. Well, don't fire them out.
Or use your hand. Hands are preferred.
Fire your hands.
And when you stop asking questions is when we walk out.
Let your hands go.
What's funny
Well,
is
we usually throw things.
we wouldn't have to actually ID anyone in this crowd because I can tell who's over the drinking age by the looks on some people's faces.
Or just sneaking things in.
Yeah.
All right. So who has a question? Come on, children.
Oh, you know you do. You know you do.
Okay, it's not that early now. It's noon.
Otherwise, we're going to just have a
Yes, sir.
Greg, how do you feel? Do you have any kind of thoughts about inputting yourself into your own comic there for a little bit when you kind of get that time when you were talking to some of your own characters? Do you have any kind of
You mean with the photo area?
Right.
Oh, that was actually a lot of fun. For those who don't read my comic, what happened is at one point, many inconsistencies throughout the course of my comic created a plot hole, which Tony was sucked into, and then escaped by creating a paradox of his own. And he fell into literally the real world. I set up a number of different shots, and I actually sort of Roger Rabbited him into my real life. It was actually a lot of fun. That was probably the most fun I've ever had. I hated it because it was so hard, but that was cool. I mean, that was a lot of fun. As far as the feelings go, it was kind of neat because I got to interact with my characters on the Walt Disney. Hi Mickey, but it was really cool because I got to have Tony actually drinking an actual beer. So what I did is I would take a photo of a beer at various different angles, and I would put it into his hand. It was just so cool. So that was fun. I liked it.
I had sorry. He'll move around on me.
Keep your side.
I got kicked off. What kind of candy would you guys like?
What?
What kind of candy would you guys like?
Oh, dude, really?
Okay.
You brought enough for everyone.
Dog cat. Dog cat. Okay.
So great, we're going to have a bunch of hungover, sugar rush artists.
Dude, this is sacrilege. Now Runts, they have 2 new members of the gang, Grape and Green Apple.
What?
Okay, what now first?
Riot. Anyway.
You know what? I'd be okay if they lost.
Next question.
Dude,
Next question.
that's the best run.
All right.
Yeah, the bananas are crazy.
I know, but I'm trying to keep us from having a big fist fight. Religion politics fine, but no candy. Next question about comics. What comics? Anyone? Yes, sir.
Well, everybody there's always this tendency of how the story ends up writing itself, or the characters ends up driving everything. Well, at what point did that happen, and you realize that started happening in your comic?
Let's start with you. Probably within the first couple months, honestly. I'd say about 2 months in, my comic started almost presenting. I mean, I still have the 10-year guideline, where I said this is what has to happen, there's major plot points. But certain characters just kind of started filling voids to me. Originally, my comic was partially biographical, and it stopped being that within probably the first 2 years.
You ever do it?
Probably about 10% of that comes from my life. We're inspired by it.
Well, obviously it's called real life, but it's based on friends of mine, me and my friends, but even then, you start to find that characters fill archetypes. You know, my character is the goofy one, Liz's character is the straight man, Tony is the all-powerful, whatever you want to call it, you know. They fill these voids, and I found that actually even some of my friends who I was hanging out with at the time didn't fill voids. It was really, really hard to work with. So I found my kind of little group of 4 that drives itself. With those group of 4, I can comment on or do just about anything. So, crack up here, apparently. So they drive themselves just based on, you know, I look at a situation and who would react to it just kind of comes up. Usually it's me because I'm narcissistic.
I draw cats.
I think that our characters took on a life of their own about 2-3 days before we started filming. They pretty much from the beginning were writing themselves. You know, that's pretty much how we came up with the idea for the comic in the first place, with these characters basically sort of jumped up in our brains and went, "Hi! We want to do something now." For us, because we're more of a gag-a-day comic, and it's semi-autobiographical, basically my friends and the people that I generally hang out with are a giant circus, and I get all of my fodder from them. So usually, So usually what I do is the joke forms, and then I decide which character best fills in the roles of that joke, rather than writing the joke around the characters themselves.
And usually, like, you know, it would be really cool, like, we'll literally have it personated as this, like, the intertubes. We did a comic where we were actually, like, in tubes floating down a river. In real life, this happened. And I had this stupid idea of, hey, we're a series of tubes. We're the internet. And that's why I'm not the writer. And then I was like, hey, I heard that. And so it's just like, who would say what? You know, and usually if somebody smashes somebody for their stupidness, it's Heidi.
Well, yeah, and then usually the person doing the stupid pun is Mateo. So I was like, oh yeah, I kind of fit those two characters. We plopped them right into the comic. So.
Okay, question answered.
In a related question, say you start with an established story arc in your mind, but your characters start hijacking your story arc. How do you deal with that?
Beat them into submission.
Kill someone.
We've never really had that problem because our story arcs are usually very short. They don't really have time. By the time they start building up a heavy steam to go their own direction, it's like, no, it's done now. Go back to gag a day. You know.
I draw cats.
That's actually a really good, it's a good question, but usually if you start with the story arc in your mind and then your characters don't fit into that story arc, it's probably best to listen to your characters, if that makes any sense. I mean, if you find that you're forcing them to fit into something that they don't really fit into, then, well no, I mean, if it seems to yourself that this is not what my character would do, maybe you should see where that would go, follow that natural progression.
Unless you can find some reason why they would do it.
Right, you have to,
Or burn the town down.
I had a story, the storyline where I blew up